Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Women's History Month, and welcome to today's mPower Hour, Overcoming the Confidence Gap with PowerSchool. I'm Kate Wright, Enterprise Sales Director here at the Mom Project, and I'm excited to be here today to moderate our discussion with Marissa Gonzalez, Stephanie Farber, and Lauren Shaw, all incredible women and moms from PowerSchool. Stephanie is a solution engineer and a lead for PowerSchool's Women in Tech ERG. Based in Houston, she's a proud wife and mom to 4 daughters and 1 son, all ages 6 to 24, 3 of which are seniors, 1 with her master's, 1 with her bachelor's, and a son who graduates high school this year. Marissa is an education impact consultant and also a lead for PowerSchool's Women in Tech Employee Resource Group. She is a dedicated wife and mom of 4 living in Houston. Her family includes a son serving in the Army, a son in college, a daughter in 3rd grade, and a son in kindergarten. Lauren is a senior director of solution sales. She lives just outside of San Antonio, Texas, and is a mom of 2, ages 10, and a son who's 10 and a daughter who is 16. Fun fact, if you caught it, Stephanie, Marissa, and Lauren all live in Texas and are all part of PowerSchool's Women in Tech ERG. My name is Kate Wright. I'm Enterprise Sales Director here at the Mom Project, and I'm super excited to moderate today's discussion. Today, we're going to be discussing strategies for balancing priorities, building your self-confidence, overcoming self-doubt, and achieving a more empowered work-life balance. A few housekeeping items to note before we get started. This session will be recorded, and it will be saved on LinkedIn as well as on our YouTube channel, available for rewatch at any time. We'll also have time for audience questions at the end of the discussion. So please add your questions to the comments and we will try to get to all of them at the end. So let's dive in. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I wanted to just kick us off with some icebreaker questions. We could start with Stephanie. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I have to say both on this one because in the morning I can get stuff done and at night my creativity comes out. So both.
Love it. Love that. Marissa?
Definitely a night owl. That's when I work best. I'm able to focus and do what I need to do.
Love it. Lauren?
And I'm a morning person. I am definitely wake up early, go to bed early kind of a gal. And diversity on a team is good. Look at us. We've got all the bases covered.
What is your favorite productivity hack?
I would say just as a mom, it's going into and using the things on my phone. So I use the reminders app for our meal planning. So everyone knows what's for dinner. I know what's for dinner and I have a plan. So it's just one of them I use at the home front.
I'm not really sure if it's a hack, but I have to block time. Like if I don't block time and turn off notifications and minimize tabs and all of that, I won't get anything done. So it really helps me when I block that time so I'm not easily distracted.
For me, it's sleep. Number one thing I prioritize over everything else is 8 hours of sleep a night. And I feel like I could conquer the world if I get that in.
I love that. I'm trying to do that myself. I'm struggling. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
What about a memorable vacation that you've taken or maybe one that's coming up that you're really excited about?
This past weekend, we took a road trip to Austin, Texas with my family, and we got to have a lot of family time, and we are wedding planning for our oldest. So that was really fun.
We are hoping to go to Hawaii. That's where my oldest is stationed right now. And so we're hoping to make a trip out there to visit, but also to relax.
My daughter and I are going to New York City at the end of May to see an opera at the Metropolitan Opera. It's called Salome, and my daughter's name is Salome. So that's part of the drive to go do this, get her culture infusion that feels super relevant. And so mother-daughter weekend. Exciting.
Thank you. I love it. Amazing. All fun and exciting things to look forward to. That's for sure. Thank you all. Well, let's talk about your backgrounds. We'd love to hear more about your career journeys. Where did your career begin and how did you get to where you are today? We can start with Stephanie.
Alrighty, so I was born and raised in Montana, and I was actually recruited to Texas as a teacher. I later earned my bachelor's degree in administration and supervision from the University of Houston. So after 18 years of education, I served as teacher, math coach. I was a dyslexia specialist, director of elementary math, and then a professional learning director. So lots of hats within the district. And then I decided to join PowerSchool as a solution engineer. So now I get to collaborate with the sales team and showcase innovative solutions to districts and schools worldwide. So.
I am like Stephanie, former educator, 18 years in public education. I was born and raised here in Houston. I worked my entire career in education in the same district. I started as a kindergarten teacher, and then I moved up to be a campus reading and math specialist. And then I became a program director for primary and elementary math, which is where we wrote curriculum and assessments, professional development. We worked with training and mentoring the campus specialist. And then I moved to PowerSchool, and I was with Stephanie for a little while as a solution engineer. But now I'm an education impact consultant where I work with clients around best practices and help them increase their product utilization. And I'm, like you said, I'm also one of the co-chairs for the Women in Tech Evergy.
I started as a teacher and a coach. I quickly learned that being in front of the classroom was not probably where I belonged, but I became connected with the teen parent support programs at my school district and transitioned into a program director role around supporting teen parents' journey through school up through graduation and then economic self-sufficiency afterwards. So I spent about 10 years focused on those programs, running them, fundraising them, even helping with the design. And then my journey to PowerSchool was all about data because I had existed in an environment where our teen moms were so under-supported in so many ways, and knowing that if we had a little bit more data about them as whole people, we could probably better serve them in all the ways. And so I came to the tech land. I've been on the bids and proposals team, bidding for school district's business. I've been the leader of the customer advocacy organization here, and then I've been on the sales team for the last 5 years.
Amazing. Thank you all. I know that we're here today to talk about confidence as well, confidence in the workplace. So curious, what are some tools that you all utilize to continue to feel confident?
I would say one of my biggest ones, just being engaged. So at PowerSchool, we have the opportunity to be engaged with our our employee resource groups, which is Women in Tech. We also have Power Pods, which are pods of groups that work together close by. So we have one for the Houston area, but also mentorship and then support and then just collaboration. So I would just say, really getting involved and then just knowing that your expertise is a real impact, that really fuels my confidence as well. My stories really mean things when I'm giving demos to districts.
For me, it's been about kind of the whole concept of self-efficacy or one's own belief that they can do something. And that, I think, like the science shows, it is driven by 4 main variables, one of which is seeing people like you accomplish what you want to accomplish. So that representation, oh, there's a mom in the job that I would like to do. That means that that's possible. Also, verbal persuasion, hearing from people who know what it takes, telling you you can do this. I've been really lucky to have mentors that have empowered me to say, I'm going to give this to you, and it's not something you've done before, but I've seen you work and I know that you can, and I'm here to help, which is fantastic. Then that, trying and failing or trying and succeeding, right? The proving to yourself that you can accomplish something by making attempts and dusting yourself off and getting back up when it doesn't work. And then finally that physical, what is it called? Physiological feedback. Is my body telling me I can do this? I think that's like, for me, thematically, when I'm connecting I'm a mom and I'm a worker, is my body fighting what I'm trying to do? And that's probably been the signal I needed to listen to the most, but actually listen to the least. And once I learned how to trust what my body was telling me, in addition to the voices, external, found a rhythm, and those have been the keys to kind of progressing my career.
I think that's so important, right? Is listening to yourself. And also, like Stephanie had mentioned, is taking advantage of all of the resources at your disposal too. And PowerSchool offers so many resources, as well as all of the different employee resource groups like Women in Tech to get involved and help with that. So amazing. Kind of transitioning into thinking about listening to yourself. I know that no matter the stage in your career journey, we all, have self-doubt. Sometimes we all experience that self-doubt or imposter syndrome. How do you all quiet that, voice or that imposter syndrome? What tips would you share today with, other members of our community?
I'm definitely guilty of this. So even when I was asked to join this panel, I thought, me, like they want me to come talk? Like what do I have to share, And then I talked to my husband and my kids, and they encouraged me to do it. So I think one of the first tips for me is to have a solid support system, to have those people who are there to encourage you and to support you, and to be honest with you and to give you that feedback that you need to hear. And then I think, also be patient with yourself and understand that building confidence is a gradual process. So, like when I first started teaching, I had no issue talking in front of my group of 5-year-olds, but if an adult came in, I was like completely thrown off, right? And then as my career shifted, I found myself talking in front of groups of 100 or more adults. And, I would practice for days and try to predict the questions of what they were going to say so I could be ready. And then, it didn't take long for me to learn that I'm not going to have all the answers, and that's okay. And sometimes, it's okay to say, you know what, let me get back to you on that. And, just remember that the discomfort of it is part of the growth. It's part of getting your confidence and being open to that honest feedback. Sometimes it will build your confidence, and sometimes it's hard to hear. But either way, it will help you grow. It'll help you learn. So I think, you need to be able to stay flexible and, just understand and be patient with yourself and have that, self-confidence, and it'll come.
Thanks, Marissa. I know Stephanie wanted to answer this one too, but I think we're working to get her back on. So Lauren, what were your thoughts here?
Sure. I love the point Marissa made about it being a gradual process to build confidence. There's no real replacement for time or at-bats to prove to yourself and to others that you're capable of something. Tying back to the motherhood conversation, when you're choosing, which every day is a choice, every day is a trade-off, right? I'm either working around with my kids, I'm, going to the play, or I'm going to the sales call. You have to know that the choice that you're making is strengthening a skill or a relationship in that particular area. And so I used to be really impatient and frustrated, like, I'm smart, I know I can do this, just give me the job, give me the task. And I even have had female leaders who were like, you're a mom and you are juggling both work and home, and I am not. And so I've been able to spend all of my time and extra resources and focus and energy on career growth. So my path to this level of, the top may have been faster because I didn't have that alternative focus. So for me, it's been trusting that it will come in time, and that my priorities are where I need them to be, which is, shared time and energy with my kids and my work. So patience.
For sure. We all know that advocating for yourself, in the workplace can be challenging, as well as we think about, working and being, collaborating in person, knowing that sort of requires confidence in both yourself and your ability to advocate for yourself, right? This question I had is for you, Lauren. Can you share a time where you've really had to advocate for yourself while working, and share the outcome of what happened?
Yes, I would describe my journey as one of constant advocacy, but I would say a particular milestone was when I came over from kind of nonprofit program direction and fundraising into corporate America sales. And probably the belief by the organization that was receiving me, which is PowerSchool, that maybe these two weren't as alike as I knew them to be. And so I've had to do a lot of re-earning stripes that I earned previously at my prior organization, kind of proving like, oh yeah, that is similar. Oh yeah, that is possible. You can do that. You've done that before. It's there, the kind of tunnel vision that can happen when you switch career paths, and the uncertainty that skills are transferable, that experience is transferable. There's a lot of for me, well, let me show you, let me try, let me take this on. So and I would want to give some advice, because looking back, when I was hired at PowerSchool, I was hired probably about 2 levels down from where I left my prior organization. Just because there was that kind of maybe wondering of, are these equivalent? And I think I wish I would have said, give me an opportunity to prove to you that I can accomplish what you're hoping I can accomplish, like a project-based task or something that was a little bit more of a proof point to my capabilities. Because what I did instead is think, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I can't. Maybe this is very different. It sounds the same. It sounds really similar, but maybe these people know more than me. And you know what? They don't, because I know me. I know what I'm capable of, And so I think I just would want to impart that on anybody who's listening, to say, ask for an opportunity to show your stuff outside of just an interview context, to demonstrate what you know to be true about your own capacity.
Great. Yep. Always advocating for yourself, even though it can be hard, right?
It can be hard. It can be, exhausting, quite frankly.
Exhausting. Yeah. Exactly. Well, at the Mom Project, we understand that careers can be nonlinear, right? What are some of the unexpected things that you learned from your career journey as you navigated the tech field? And we can start with Lauren again, if you want to take this one.
Sure. I think you won't always know what skills that you gain or how they'll be relevant in the future. I can't believe how many times I dig up things that are back from my teaching days there, that were critical to the job then, that I never imagined in K-12 sales that they would be super relevant now. And so just take each experience. I oversee our college career and life readiness software line of business for the sales team. So I could tell you, true blue career paths are more like a jungle gym than they are like a ladder. Just take the fun, take the skills and learnings that you get along each part of that journey, and it will all compile to just be a dazzling breadth of skills that will allow you to have greater impact than somebody that maybe did just kind of stay one path the whole time. So no shame in the career pivot game, that's for sure.
Totally. A jungle gym versus a ladder. I love that. I feel like that's so true. So true.
Totally.
Such a great analogy.
Let it be fun, right? I mean, we get so focused on up, but actually the things that you gain from side, back, over, can actually enrich you so much more and make you that much stronger of a candidate later on, and help you be relatable to the people that one day you might lead or work beside. So,
yeah. Totally. Yeah. Awesome.
I love that jungle gym thing, because like I said at the beginning, I stayed in the same district for 18 years, right? And it was just the comfort of, this is what I know, this is what I can do, right? And so making the move was scary. Mm-hmm. It was really scary. Like it took a lot of people saying, you can do this, make the jump, just apply, you never know. But something unexpected that I think it kind of along the same thing, Lauren, is that, the tech industry isn't just for techies. So you don't have to have the degree in technology or the years of experience in coding or anything like that. What I found valuable is my ability to transfer the skills from my first career into this new career. And, so being able to multitask, project management, time management, public speaking, things like that, And I think with the clients I work with, they appreciate that I was once in their shoes and that I understand their challenges and their goals, and I'm able to work with them to help them design things and just be successful. So, being able to draw on that previous experience and just lean into it is a huge benefit.
What about you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I would say that mine definitely has not been linear.
Oh no, did Stephanie freeze?
Yeah, that Texas weather, I'm telling you what. It is.
Yes.
I'm
still on.
There you are.
My first year of teaching, I went to professional learning courses and, was like, oh, I want to be a presenter. And so I pivoted into that a little bit while I was teaching. And then I became a curriculum writer and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. And just seeing the different roles and then also seeing the coaches that would come and assist in my classroom. Those roles I never had seen in Montana were, normal in Texas and, what people were doing. So just really exciting to have the different roles. And then those just really build up my career. So it's really taught me that it's not going to be linear. It's going to change. And so, yeah, that's probably the biggest part.
That's great. Thank you all. Thanks so much for sharing. Thinking sort of about career, your journey being nonlinear, there's a lot that goes into juggling all of that. And a lot of that has to do with sort of balancing your priorities. So that kind of leads me into my next question for you, that knowing that being a mom in the paid workforce is, can be challenging to balance everything all at once. So can you maybe just share more about how you balance or how you manage that balance in your own personal lives? And we can start with you, Marissa.
So I have 3 of my 4 kids at home right now. And the younger 2 they have their after school activities. We have gymnastics and baseball, and, we have the meets and the games and all this stuff. What I found is, I need to be able to set boundaries, right? And, ask for help when it's needed. And even though, I can't always be there for things and that mom guilt sets in, and we know mom guilt is real, right? But setting the boundaries and accepting help has really helped me. So, like, I used to work until midnight and get things done because I wanted it to be perfect, or I was working on something, and I wanted to be at every little thing my kids were doing. So I was exhausted. Now what I do is I set the boundaries. I have a hard stop for when work is over. I silence my notifications. So I'm not tempted to check emails or Slack, and so that I can be present in my home life. The kids, they have a lot going on. And so what I've had to do is say, what's the most important thing that you want me to be there for? Which part of your 3-hour gymnastics practice is the most important to you? And so if she's been working on a vault for 2 weeks, then, she might say, oh, mom, I want you to be here for the vault. Okay, great. That's what I'm going to do. That's where I'm going to focus. And so I'm not, trying to, really stress myself out, and I'm able to do more stuff. And then, when I go to their events, I make a big deal out of it and just say, that was such a great job. I'm so glad that you invited me here, and I'd love to see this, so that they know that what they're doing is important and that, that I support them. And even with my husband and my older boys, the Army sergeant and the college student, I set time aside for them. Just to have a quick conversation sometimes is all it needs, so that, they know that even though they're adults, like, I still value them and that what they're doing is important. So, that's setting the boundaries. But then as far as accepting help, if at work I'm spending too long looking for an answer, then I go to my team and I ask, what can you help me with this? And that's what we all do. And I think that's part of, building that great culture at work. Just knowing that you're able to ask for help and to accept it. At home, I might ask for help, with dinner or getting the kids to practice. And it's okay, if dinner's a sandwich, it's sometimes, that's what we got to do. So, just little things like that. And something that actually Stephanie taught me is, I have a list for my kids, for my little kids, and they have stuff that they do after school that really helps me out because, it's things like picking up your toys, feeding the dog, they read to each other. And so that's, they're getting their homework and everything done, things like that. And so it's just being able to, again, set those boundaries, ask for the help, accept the help. And, I think it's important for us moms to remember that we can't be there for our kids and do our best at work if we don't take care of ourselves. And so we've got to, just have that balance and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves.
Huge. Organizing, prioritizing, and asking for help. Absolutely. Lauren, what do you think?
So the power of the word no is something that I've really embraced. And it's sad in some ways because I say no to things that I like in order to say yes to things that I love or that I have to do for those that I love. But the boundary point that Marissa made is huge. The more I can carve time and manage my energy, which I talk about sleep as my productivity hack, but I know when I'm smartest, like cognitively and creatively, conversationally, and I structure my days in a way that allows me to show up at my best whenever I can. And then if the nice to haves are going to get in the way of those must haves that allow me to best serve my family, my work, and those closest relationships to me, I say no. I say no to a lot. Yeah.
Feeling empowered to say no. Yep, that's you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And I like on that point that there is a season for every kind of, energy and focus. I believe, assuming we live long, rich lives that, and I mean rich in like fulfillment, but that it's not no ever. It's just no right now. It's things that I used to be able to say yes to all the time and that I will be able to again. But that Tuesday night happy hour, probably no, because I'm going to get up and drive my son to school before I go to work because I'm not going to see him because I'm doing the, bringing home the bacon. So.
And I like how you phrased it earlier. It was saying sometimes you have to say no to the things that you like so that you can say yes to the things that you love. And I love that. That's awesome. What about you, Stephanie?
I would say definitely time blocking. I was never good at this before, but I feel like I'm much better at that now. So really prioritizing what matters most. So whether that's personal or professional life. So in the position I'm in, I could have a demo come at any time. I've even had one at 11 o'clock at night, but it works out because that's when I get kind of creative. So just really being really flexible with that. I know what, my the little girls have with their things each week. So that's kind of blocked off, but also knowing that I might have a creative time and need to work on something at 8 o'clock at night when it's quiet in the house. So I'm very thankful that I have that flexibility. I still did that when I was a teacher, when I worked as a program director, I would be at home, wouldn't be at the workplace, but it's just nice to have that flexibility and really just kind of be able to prioritize that. And then also carving out time to recharge myself, whether that's just sitting on the couch with a cup of coffee or a Saturday morning, having a time to relax, but just really making sure that you carve out the time and then have your time planned so you can be flexible in the position that you may have.
And that is, I'm going to chime back in and just talk about that as a privilege and a gift from PowerSchool in my world, the flexibility. I have been, a mom the whole time I've worked here for 8 years. I've never felt like I couldn't make my family a priority, and that when we are led by outcomes versus time and seat, moms and parents generally have the ability to deliver on their commitments, their family, and their work. So I know that that's not a privilege everybody has, and I'm really grateful for PowerSchool for making that part of our culture.
That's great. Yeah. And yeah, PowerSchool has the ability to have that flexibility because of a company and a culture like you have at PowerSchool, which is great. But having that balance, going back to kind of what Stephanie was saying, having balance in, a way that works best for you, for all three of you have different but equally amazing ways of having that balance in your lives. But it could mean something different to everybody in terms of what works for them and how they can be successful. So that kind of is a nice segue also into my next question, which is, at the Mom Project, we have a saying, it's moms get shit done, because we know that moms can do so much and do it all, as you all just explained in your own personal lives. But my question is around, being a caregiver, what are some of those innate skills that you bring to the workplace every day, and how has that impacted your career as a whole? And this one can be for anyone who wants to chime in.
I can go on this one. I'll say one of the best pieces of advice that I've actually heard from my uncle. He was a CFO of a very large company, and he said that he only hired teachers or those with degrees in education because they're able to multitask, stay organized, and get the job done. So that's always resonated with me, even as a mom or just in the position I have now, because, you know, the skills that you develop in education in the classroom, working with others, whether you're working with teachers, you're working with students, you have to problem solve, you have to adapt, you have to be able to multitask. And that will give you huge potential in any field. So you can take your skills that you're using as a mom to get your calendar straight, to get your meals planned, also in your daily work. So it's just a constant reminder that the skills we often take for granted are incredibly valuable and transferable as well.
Definitely. And I would add the heart piece of kind of the motherly nature. I'm not going to make a hasty generalization and say all moms are mushy, but the ability to bring your heart to the workplace and be empathetic and lead people in a way that is nurturing, in addition to whatever kind of concrete business outcomes need to be met, to treat people as whole humans with varied needs. You know, we have to tend to our children that way all the time. And that is an incredible transferable skill, and why women in leadership are so effective, because they tend to be able to meet needs beyond that of just the KPIs, or the KPIs get met better when you meet those human needs alongside them as part of how you lead.
Yeah, I think also flexibility and being able to pivot. You know, my 5-year-old doesn't always want to wear what he picked out the night before, right? And so we have to pivot, and we have to, you know, be flexible and be like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And some of the, you know, that applies at work, because things don't always go as planned. You know, you might be getting on a call thinking that, oh, I'm going to talk about this, but then the topic changes. And so you have to be able to think quickly and think on your feet and say, okay, well, now let's do this. And so I think just that flexibility and, you know, like I said, being able to pivot quickly and think on your feet is a really important skill.
Mm-hmm. The transferable skills, like you all sort of touched on, right, is having kids and being a parent, being a caregiver, transfers so well to the paid workforce too, and your own companies. And then, like you mentioned, having that flexibility at PowerSchool to be able to bring your whole self to work, right? I wanted to ask, thinking kind of on a personal note, the topic of mentorship. We know that's really important for, you know, career growth and advancement and just your overall experience at work, in terms of having a mentor, having, you know, a leader that's important in your life. Have you had mentors throughout your career? And if so, how did they influence your journey?
I had a mentor that actually helped steer my career path. She was a current program director in math. And I started, you know, I want to present and I want to work with you and I want to do this. And she helped guide me. And then eventually we were partners, you know, together doing curriculum for math. And that journey of me, you know, going from the classroom to the specialist with her and then with being her partner, that that led me to actually come to PowerSchool, because I was able to say, hey, you know, now I have this experience to draw on, you know, and it's beneficial this way. And so I think she definitely had a huge influence on where I am today.
I absolutely have. I have a pretty emotional reaction when I think about my first major mentor, and who, when we worked in a nonprofit environment that was extremely resource, you know, strapped, you really needed to be able to tap into everybody's strengths to get everything that needed to be done. And so she was just phenomenal at kind of sussing out what people were excellent at and giving them opportunities to lean into those strengths and build foundational skills that have lasted me to this day. I swear I owe so much of my success just to that one woman who said, you absolutely can do this. I'm going to show you I believe in you and give you this work to do. And I'm here to help also. But like, man, that's everything.
I would just add, I had the same mentor as Marissa. I also had one that mentioned for me to get my master's degree. I didn't feel like I deserved it. I was just, wanted to be in the classroom. And she noticed that I was doing curriculum writing and I was wanting to present. And she said, if you want a seat at the table, you need to have a master's degree. And so I took that and I was able to complete my master's degree in a 1-year cohort. So I was able to quickly get to that table and then join that conversation. So really pushing her and letting me know you do deserve to get your master's degree. You can do it. And then have that opportunity to get it in 1 year was something very pivotal in mine. And I just consider her another mentor. I have several, but she's definitely one that I can think about when my career definitely pivoted to a new layer within it.
So great. I think it's also interesting too to think about a mentor. You don't necessarily have to be in a mentorship program, right? To have a mentor. It could be a leader, someone that you reported to, or someone that you worked alongside of, someone from a previous or current company. It's just a friend, a close colleague, right? So that could be, there's so much that I think so much collaboration and communication that is done that, I still, same thing. I still, those people stick with you who are empathetic towards you and help you, and sort of they can help change your life, right? It's just having that sense of community at work is huge. And mentors are such a big deal, but kind of thinking outside of the box. It doesn't necessarily have to be a mentor, right? It could be someone that you look at as a mentor. So thank you so much for sharing your personal stories. I did have one more question I did want to end with before we move on to Q&A shortly. What is the best piece of advice that you have received as a female in the tech industry?
I think for me, it was to be yourself, because skills can be taught, personality and confidence can't be. And so just go in there and be yourself and just let yourself shine through.
I love that.
Mine are kind of like a group together. So I would say trust your skills, surround yourself with people that lift you up, and remember that growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So sometimes the best decisions are the ones that feel really scary at first.
Absolutely. I think from my least supportive leader I've ever had was the best feedback I ever got, was that everything's a trade-off. Know that if you're saying no to something, that you're saying yes to something better, that you can't have it all at one time. And when you have that perspective, that reality, give yourself permission to wait on some things. And, it made me feel more successful at the things I was doing rather than focus on the things that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All great advice. Thank you all so much. I think we're ready to move on to Q&A. So I know that you all have been putting comments in the chat. Looks like we have one question here. Having a toddler with younger kids, how do you sort of manage juggling both duties? So having, young children, managing them and still working towards a career, your goals, and juggling both effectively. And this could be for anyone.
I feel like the village, we all hear it takes a village, right? Nothing can be accomplished on your own. And in some places you have to pay for a village because you don't have family and supportive community around you. And in others, you do, right? Not all of us have access to robust family and friend structures, but it can't be accomplished alone, or prove me wrong if anybody else has a perspective. Don't feel guilty about relying on others to make your dreams happen.
So true. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I just, like Lauren said, I think, it's important to have that village. My youngest was, I think he was less than a year old when COVID started. And so that whole, I'm going to work from home suddenly, and then I have a 3-year-old and less than a 1-year-old at home, and how am I going to figure that all out, right? So even though we were learning to work remotely at that time, because I was still in the school district, leaning on my coworkers, whether it was virtually on the phone or whatever. And, we were getting stuff done together. And then also, it was harder at the time because your village was so limited, but being able to, lean on my older kids and my husband and say, okay, I really need an hour to get this done. Can y'all help me? So I just think it's, like I said earlier, I think it's important to understand, we can't do it all by ourselves. So just, accept that help when you can.
And like you mentioned at the start of COVID and all of that, just having to sort of pivot and adjust your how you were to lean on your village. It looked differently, but still doing so in different circumstances is so important.
I would also say time management is huge as well. So making sure that, when they're asleep or when they're really calm, trying to get the work done that you can. So really kind of block that time, find that time when it is quiet, find those moments or find engaging activities that they can do while you're working. Like my code for my kids, if my door is shut, don't come to the door, write me a note under the door. And usually my son's home with them. But, just having those little ways that you can kind of get around and get that work done if you need to get it done, and just time blocking as well.
Great tips. Awesome. Okay. It looks like we have another question that came through the chat. When kids are younger, as a mom, did you feel that you took a pause on your career growth and not have taken up very challenging roles just to be able to manage work and family better? How long does it take to get back that confidence that you are ready to try for a more challenging role?
Such an important question. I would like to answer this one because it was a really jarring experience for me, who really prioritized career until I had kids and found that I kind of put an inherent ceiling on my upward trajectory when I started to prioritize my children over my work. And when I switched industries, was not able to enter at the level that I exited pre-child. So the way that I've become comfortable with this is there will be time for that growth. There will be time to take that next level career move. If you've done a good job of being an awesome employee and contributor, where I see this, where this question is coming from, I know this person has, that take that pause, get that time with your kids, and you'll never get it back. The workforce will always be waiting. It is worth just, a pause button or just a little, in my opinion.
And with, I kind of look at mine, like I have two sets of kids, right? I have my older ones and my younger ones, and their childhoods were very different. I worked a lot and I went to school when my older ones were little, and I missed a lot with them. And, like Lauren said, you don't get that back. And so I do kind of regret that, like I was working so much. I was in school and I was doing all this, but I was doing it because I knew like it was going to help them, right? Versus my little ones, now I'm able to be there for them, and I'm going to the events with them, and we're packing the lunches and we're doing things. And so I think it's just, I don't think there's, one wrong way to approach it. I think it's just, what works for you personally. And then how long does it take? Honestly, I think that is just, it's different for everybody. How to get that confidence back. Because when I was in education, it took a lot longer. I was younger, I wasn't as confident, I didn't have the skills, versus now I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm gonna do this, right? And so I think it's just different for everybody where you're, what point you're at in your life.
I agree with both of them. Very good answers. Yeah, I agree.
Another question is, what do you do to celebrate wins as busy working moms, even the small ones? So many times I'm moving so quickly that I forget to do this. Any tips?
This weekend I was, I felt like I worked a lot. I've done a lot with the kids, and I just went and I was like, you know what, I need some time by myself, and I just went and got a pedicure. It's like little things. So I, celebrating some small wins, trying to take care of yourself. I don't know, ladies, anything else?
I would agree. Just taking, the small wins, taking them, and pedicure is always a good thing. If you're a reader, reading a book, mine is just kind of sitting outside or gardening. Just the little things that you can do, and just kind of find those things that you like, and just find those little wins that you can celebrate. Or even include your kids as well. Different ways you can do that.
I think you can also bake this into how you interact with your kids at the end of the day. Talk about kind of what was the best thing that happened to them today. What was the best thing that happened to me today? And maybe it was work, and maybe it was something mom related, but intentionally deciding to call that out at the end of each day reminds us of the things that, the why behind what we're doing, the feel good aspects. The most important thing is that being a mom and being a working person at the same time is hard. It just is. There's no easy button, right? So, but there are wonderful nuggets all throughout your experiences that if you just focus on those, it becomes manageable, and then habitual, and then it's gone. It happens really fast. So don't get fired too much.
Love it. All great advice, great tips. The next question is, what advice do you have for moms getting back to work after a 4.5-year break? How can I put my best foot forward knowing I have such a huge gap?
I kind of think, even though you might not have been working with a company for 4.5 years, you have been working. And so like we talked about those transferable skills. So, going into an interview or something and talking about those skills that transfer, and talking about, why you are the best fit, and just be confident. That's what we're talking about, right? Be confident. So, if you say, or don't say, well, if I get the job, what will I be doing? Say, when I get the job, what will I be doing? And so just showing that you are confident, and that you do have experience, and that you have those transferable skills that they're looking for.
Yeah, the belief in yourself. You know what you're capable of. You did it before you had kids. Then you had kids, which is a whole other boot camp, style situation, like hardcore on the job training with transferable skills. So yeah, don't self-limit. Don't decide that you wouldn't be accepted, or that, it might not be good fit, or you're not capable. Like, put yourself out there. And kind of circling back to my comment at the beginning about asking for opportunities to prove your abilities as part of any job seeking process. You can explain all day, and you can show a resume all day long, but sometimes you just need an opportunity to demonstrate what you're capable of, with respect to what you want to do. And I think, well, as a hiring manager myself, I've been a people leader for over 15 years, and I would all day choose somebody who said, let me show you, let me demonstrate my skills, versus I did this before. So just believe in yourself, like the other lady said as well.
Yeah, I would just go along with, trusting your skills that you have, and especially the skills that you've gained in being a mother, as well as surrounding people that will really lift you up. So find those people at your new position that will just lift you up, find your corner, and just be around those people and surround yourself with them as well.
Great. Looks like we have another question. Have you had that experience when there are needed skills in your role that you felt you didn't have experience with? How did you navigate through that?
Yeah, I think finding people who can help you connect the dots between what you have accomplished and what the new job entails is really helpful. Finding mentorship is a great example of this, but if you can find even somebody on your LinkedIn network, or put it out to your LinkedIn network, I'd like to talk with somebody who's doing this job, be able to say, this is what I have experience with, this is what I've accomplished. What do you see as a person who is in the role that I would like to be in, as the parallels and the transferable skills, so that I can highlight mine, position them toward, the strengths that I would bring. I think there are so many women who want to help in that particular way. If somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn and was like, I'm re-entering the workforce, I've been there. I've been a single mom. I've re-entered the workforce after many years. None of it was easy. But the more, like Stephanie said, strong women I had to lift me up and tell me I could and show me the way. But you have to seek it out, right? It's not going to come to you. You have to go tap shoulders, but you'll have a lot of willing, I think, people there to answer your call.
Yeah, I feel like I experienced this moving to PowerSchool because I figured that there'd be a lot of, technical questions that I don't really know the answer to. I know how to use the products. I know, as a teacher, as a coach, using them as a parent as well. But just knowing that background information, how it works and implementation, I had a few experiences of that, but really just asking the questions. My team is very open. They want you to ask questions so you get the right answer, of course, but just knowing that you can ask questions always helps as well. So just ensure that you have that ability to ask the questions, know who to ask, or, have a facet where you can definitely ask those questions. But my biggest thing would be ask the question. Like sometimes I would hold back, but I don't anymore. And sometimes I might be silly questions, but I want to know the answer. I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. So just make sure you ask the questions and it'll be all right.
Great advice. And I think we have one more question. What are some good ways to get hands-on experience in a field I'm trying to break into so that I can fill in my resume and prove I'm qualified for a position? Any advice here?
I received some really good advice from a leader, and she always said, tie everything you're doing in your resume to numbers. So for example, when you're filling your resume, and one example I'll give is I would present in front of groups. Say how many you presented to. Were you presenting in front of a room of 22, a classroom of 22? Well, I was presenting in rooms of like 100. So, put that down. Tie everything to that number. And that way, it really sets in stone like what you're working on. And then just the hands-on experience, I guess, everything within your company that you're working with now, make sure that you're asking questions, as I mentioned earlier, and just trying to get the experiences that you can, just by asking questions. I think Lauren mentioned it earlier, trying to find ways in which you can, be around others and ask the questions. So that'd be my biggest piece of that, is just making sure that you can tie it to what you're currently doing and put it down with numbers as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. Yeah, I think also networking is huge. So expand your network and see, if there's anybody who can help you gain that experience that you're looking for. You would be surprised on how willing people are to help you. Just like Lauren was saying, somebody might reach out on LinkedIn. Hey, I have a question. Yeah, no problem. Let's talk. So I think, just expanding that network and leaning on those people could help.
Yes. And don't sell yourself short by taking, like, I'm a mom and a full-time worker and I'm going to go do this free volunteer thing on the weekend or in the evenings. You don't have to do that. You can get paid for the things you accomplish while you are learning. So that's where your network comes in, that can help you understand, inroads to earn while you learn.
Also important. Thank you all so much. And thank you all for putting questions and comments in the chat for our Q&A. I think that's all we have time for today. But I did want to thank you all so much for joining us. Marissa, Lauren, Stephanie, thank you so much for your insights and your candor regarding your career journey, how you've overcome self-doubt, and so much more. I know that I learned so much today, and I really hope that you all did too. So thank you all so much. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.